Hey guys, welcome to the premiere webisode of The Simmer. We've got musicians being honest with one another, if that can be considered a good thing. Plus, musicians taking it to the street, only they're in the park. We have that, plus news from musicians. I'm Michael Thurston, your host, and you're in The Simmer. Hey guys, welcome again to the premiere webisode of The Simmer. I'm your host, Michael Thurston. You know, so many of the entertainment shows out there are talking about what are you wearing, who are you dating, when's rehab coming up for you. We've got a show for you now based on the web that's talking to musicians about music. Coming up first, every musician knows what feedback is. It's that nasty sound you get when you hold the mic too close to the speaker. But a group of New York songwriters are taking the definition of objective observations and plugging that in as their definition of feedback. We talked to them just this past Saturday. The group's founder, Phil Robinson, explains the creation of the New York Musicians Group.
I moved to New York 5 years ago. I didn't know anyone. I stumbled onto this website, meetup.com. That first night we had about 15 people. And it snowballed. Within a few months, we're up to 50, 100 members.
Phil said one of the biggest reasons for the group was to gain input from other singer-songwriters.
A lot of songwriters, they'll write a song, and it'll really just be the person by themselves sitting on the edge of the bed, strumming their acoustic guitar to the four walls. A lot of times musicians will ask their friends, what do you think of this song? And their friends, oh, that's great, you're so talented, keep going. People are very scared to give feedback. I wanted to talk with other musicians and just sort of have an agreement, you know, be honest with me, I'll be honest with you.
Another member, Oz Middleton, tells why people join the group.
So one of the things that they do here is they encourage musicians to get out of your cubbyhole, so to speak, and get involved, be, you know, part of a community that's bigger than yourself. I played a couple of songs and I got feedback from people and I kept getting, again, good reviews, and it just built up my confidence and I got better and better, and lo and behold.
But it's a heck of a lot more than just encouraging advice when you hear the other songwriters, many of whom are musicians, performing your songs.
I don't rely on it much for my songwriting. It's just fun to hear other people's takes on it, maybe a little different arrangements.
People get ideas. A lot of times someone will play a lick that is a good idea, and then you always want that to be a part of the song from now on.
And Rob sums up the real reason for being a member or for being a musician.
This is perfect thing, you know, for songwriters. It's just fun, you know. Some people use more flowery language, like it feeds my soul, or it's my passion. It's just fun.
We'll get back to me squinting in the sun in just a few moments. First up, these news stories for musicians. Live Nation has now launched a new concert application. Users of Facebook can now register and then search and buy concert tickets on their own profile page. You simply have to register for My Live Nation at livenation.com now. File this one under this one time at a choir trip. Students and parents of an Ohio high school are complaining and steaming mad that students' doors were taped shut on a recent choir trip to Chicago. Apparently, a chaperone had taped the doors shut simply to see if the students were trying to sneak out after curfew and make it to a party. Speaking of fiestas, the National Association for Music Education is sponsoring a summer 2008 workshop entitled Everything You Need to Know About Starting a Mariachi Program. Music educators from all over the country will convene this summer and learn about putting together a mariachi program for their schools. In addition to covering topics that help make you and me as well better musicians, we also want to cover musicians who are sharing their music. Whether you one day want to play for your daughter's wedding or you dream about selling out Carnegie Hall or the Staples Center before your 22nd birthday, we also want to profile people who are taking it to the people. This past week I went out and talked to some folks in the park who are doing just that. This is only the second summer that Colin Huggins has performed in the parks, but he has a big goal for the next few months.
I did it last summer for the first time, and I just did it on weekends, and it was so much fun that this summer I'm actually going to try and take a break from all of my regular gigs and only do this and see if I can still pay my rent.
Colin told me why he rolls his piano from park to park during the dog days of summer.
One reason is that it's a way to be a professional musician in a different way. I mean, you can get a large audience, and you know, tourists and even locals will donate, you know, usually $1 per person. And by the end of the day, if you've done well, you can make about $300. And the other reason is more like now is that I'm just playing for fun.
Although we enjoy singing originals, performing cover songs really get the attention of passers-by.
Trying to get a crowd around me, then I'll play songs that I think like the people will know. You get a big crowd around you and people will be dancing. And
Colin also told me a lesson he learned about overeager fans.
the piano that I had last year wasn't very stable at all, and so, you know, I always had to make sure to hold it still myself. And one time a lady ran over. She was so excited to see a piano in the park, and the piano just started, it was going to completely throw me over. My roommate was nearby, and he grabbed a hold of it. And the lady, she was real sorry. She was really apologetic. But yeah, if my roommate hadn't been there, I would have been like, you know, like when you're doing the bench press and you think you're a little bit more of a man than you really are, it would have been like that.
I also met a pack of park pickers who summed up exactly why it is they meet up to play music.
There's nothing like it. Yeah. No, it's live music. You make it yourself. Yeah. It's better than anything you listen to on your iPod. Yeah. Because it's your own. You know. Yeah.
And Steve Marshall explained how jamming with musicians of various skill levels can be a real benefit for all the performers.
This is a great workout if you're a musician. Yeah. If you play for 5 or 6 hours, you get your chops up.
Wow, yeah.
After about 8-10 hours, you can't even believe how good you are.
I want to thank you guys for joining us for our pilot episode of The Simmer. Before we go, I also have to thank Obsidian Eyes. His debut CD, The Dream, just bowed on May 28th, and he let us use all of his music for the theme music you heard on today's show. Before we catch up with you next time, you can check out our website at thesimmer0801. Until next time, I'm Michael Thurston. I'll be working on respectable musicianship, and I know you'll do the same. Take care.